sometimes we take our eye off the ball because we think we know better. So, or we want something. And we're like, we'll cheat a little. No, we'll pay off this ref. Say sorry later. But we might get by with it and win a Super Bowl. Right? So you look at David. Look what happened with David. He took his eye off the ball. He got with Bathsheba. She comes back and says, I'm pregnant. Now what does he got to do? Well, the cover-up's always worse than the crime, right? Now he sends her husband, Uriah, to the battlefront and gets him killed, right? Now, everybody would say, well, because of that, we got Solomon. He was great. Right, but look what happened to the rest of his family, right? The one brother raped the sister. Then the other brother that found out went and killed that brother. And then that brother got hung by a tree, by his hair. His family was in turmoil. And then when he was on the run from one of his enemies, one of his greatest advisors just found out, I'm not really sure what his name was, I can't remember, Tumok or something like that. One of his greatest chief's advisors, 40 years in the making, right? David's on the run from one of his sons. That is, I think he's Ablimeshek, is trying to take his kingdom away from him. Well, David's on the run. Well, guess who turned someone? It's his closest advisor. Do you know who that man was? That was Bathsheba's grandfather. So eventually, he had to pay. Not only did he feel betrayed by one of his closest people, he was in danger now because this man knew all of his secrets. So when you take your eye off the ball, you're not only hurting people, you're not only delaying your spiritual and physical destiny, you aren't just causing loss in your team and your family. You are actually putting yourself in danger. And then we go back to the verse of eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You're going to experience the evil. You will surely die. Right? You are in danger. You are now in a position that you were never supposed to be in. And David suffered greatly. He suffered immensely over the guilt of the sin until he finally repented. And even then, though, there were consequences. Am I right? There were consequences. There's always consequences. Can't sin and get away with it. I remember one pastor told me one time, sin will always turn on itself. In the beginning, it's great, right? You're like, yes. It's like when it's like a trick. You're like, oh, I got away with it. Yeah, what a rush. Till it catches up. You don't even know when it's going to catch up. You might even find that it's related. And then you start connecting things, and you're like, well, how did I get here? Well, how did I get here? It started with that. I just made that connection for myself probably 6 months ago. I was trying to retrace my steps, How do we get here? Well, obviously, this was the way we got here. Well, then how do we get here, though? Well, I thought back. Well, messed up on that one. But how did I get there? Well, I was there. How do we get there? And there it was. The original thing. And you know what that original thing was? I had taken my eye off the ball and of the mission that he sent me to do. Got impatient. Lost focus. Put all of my hope and purpose, I guess, of being for a person. Lost complete sight of the mission, and then ended up getting really burnt out. I didn't want to play anymore. I didn't want to play the game anymore. So I said, forget this. And then boom, 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 one thing leads to another. So, that's my personal story. Then, we'll go on to the New Testament. Look at Peter. He took his eye off the ball. Right? God said, you're going to deny me. No, I'll never. You're my best friend. I'm your best friend, God. I'm the one that's willing to cut people for you, right? But when it came time to it, he got scared. Like I said, sometimes we take our eye off the ball because we get scared and we don't trust God to take care of us. We don't trust him. He got scared, so he did deny him because he was scared of what they were going to do to him. Instead of just being like, I know you say you are who you say you are, and I know that you promised me this, and that. I said the words of faith that you're going to build your church on, my statement of faith. It's not the church of Peter. He was not the first priest. It was his statement of faith that the Lord built his church on. But even him was like, no, don't know him. Don't know him. Never played this game before. I don't even know how to play baseball. I mean, he went that far 3 times. And then as soon as he did, he knew what he had done, and he ran off back out into the sea and was going to give it all up. And when Jesus, arose 3 days later, he came and he found him. And Peter was in immense guilt. Imagine how you would feel, thinking, I just let down my number one person. They'll never forgive me. They even told me this would happen, and I was like, no. How many times have we not listened to our advisors and people who know better and taken the ball in our own hands and off the directions they gave us, and then we got smacked in the face because we didn't put our glove up? You know what I mean? We weren't on the defense. We weren't ready. It's like when you're little and your dad's teaching you how to play catch. He's always like, keep the glove in front of your face. Keep the glove in front of your face. Why? Because he's about to throw you a heater. And if you don't put that glove up there, you're going to get smashed in the nose. I saw it happen to this girl on my softball team when I was in high school. Like, she would always catch grounders like that. Well, when they hit the ground, they pop up. So you kept telling her, catch the ball like this. Catch the ball like this. One day a girl hit a grounder. She had her glove down, bounced up. All we heard was smack, crack, blood everywhere. Her nose was bleeding. She took her eye off the ball and was watching the ground instead of the ball. And then she got hit. Right? Isn't that a good analogy? We get hit sometimes. I always say, I can't take another hit. Like physical, mental, emotional, Sometimes you just really can't take another hit. That might be someone's last hit. That might be the one thing that makes them really just give up, right? So that's where I found myself the other day. I literally did. I was like, I can't take another hit. I've never gotten over the first hit, which wasn't really the first hit, but the big one. And now it's been 365 days and I don't feel any better. In fact, I feel worse. Hard to believe, right? And then I started listening to a Ray Clay Stray song, On My Knees or whatever. And he's like, I'm gonna shout down on my knees and praise the Lord. And I just got filled with joy. Just because he was so joyful about singing about it. And I was like, this is the first time we felt joy in like weeks. Like real joy. Like hope. Future. I have taken my eye off the ball. So let's get into that.